Being alive is hectic, and that's why we need time for us, a place for honest conversation and real connection. Thank you so much for being here, and let's get stuck in. This is a monumental occasion, and I'm glad that I have you on the purple couch with me to share it. And Dirk, I wish that you were in front of camera, in front of frame. Say hi. Couldn't have done any of this without you. Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers. We have champagne in our time for us mugs.
Cheers.
Bing. Cheers.
Cheers, my honey.
To a prosperous, enlightening, light-hearted, but insightful season 3. Yeah, I'm excited to see where this purple couch takes us. So thank you guys.
This is the season of the purple couch.
This is the vehicle. It actually looks like a space shuttle, and there's a reason for that, which is that we are only going upwards.
Taking off.
I feel like I'm in couples therapy. This is strange.
That's felt a little bit.
I don't know why. I feel like this is the most like I felt across all of the episodes that I've done so far. But today I have my beautiful boyfriend, my lover and best friend, Aaron Fuchs, little honey, on the podcast. And we are going to chat about our relationship, actually, and all the gory details. No, I'm kidding, not all the gory details, but we are going to chat about, I think, the arc of our journey. And it's been an interesting one. I think that we've gone through phases of honestly questioning if this is the right relationship for us individually. We've gone through phases of fighting immensely, and yeah, we've gone for couples therapy. We have really had quite a journey and have somehow found ourselves in a place where we want to sit on this couch and rub it in your faces that we made it out the other end and things are going well.
Woo!
Yeah, so by the way, this is that moment. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I think it's worth chatting about because something for me shifted when we were in Sri Lanka. So Aaron and I just got back from Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanky Lank.
Lanky Land. We were there for 3 months.
3 months, yeah.
And a lot actually shifted. Yeah, sure.
Just because you haven't started it.
Is this a pimple? Does that have a head?
No.
Doesn't. We should keep that in. Okay, so we were recently in Sri Lanka land for 3 months together. We took a much needed break from the social life, and I think just general pattern and direction our lives were going in, which is beautiful, amazing, incredible. We love it. But I think it was quite taxing and quite draining. And yeah, I feel like, let me put it this way. Since our time in Sri Lanka, I can say that for the first time, I feel as though I trust you with my future entirely. And I know that might sound like, well, what the fuck have you been doing up until now? But I think that throughout the journey of our relationship and my own personal internal dilemmas and struggles, have really struggled with trust and men and specific, but I think just actually like human trust maybe in general. And yeah, and I think it took an insidious-ish kind of toll in our relationship because it shows up in so many different ways. And I think coming back from Sri Lanka and like we've had those serious conversations, like, do we want to have kids? Like, where are we going? Do we want to be together forever and ever? Amen.
Forever.
And for me, the answer is yes. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I think forever is a very long time. No, I'm joking. I think what happened in Sri Lanka was super meaningful. Just like you say, there was a huge shift in our dynamic, and I agree with you in the idea of trust, like a deeper level of trust in each other. One, not that I never trusted you, but I think also maybe even more trusting myself, because I think I've always been wanting to do all these things and never had like real certainty about what I actually wanted.
What do you mean wanting to do all these things?
Like a dreamer, like a dreamer is always enamored by all the possibilities of life. Like try this, do that, and you can never really lock into a specific thing because you're always kind of thinking about different realities. And I think that's been like pretty chaotic for my life in general because you just never commit to anything.
Oh my word, 100%.
And yeah, you're just like kind of flitting on the edge of things always because of something that might happen, but you don't really have clarity. And so it's very hard to actually make progress in things. And I think when we were in Sri Lanka, it was maybe the first time in a long time where we got to relax and we got to drop in and just give our own lives some real thought, as to what do we really want. I know last year we spent some time apart, and
Oh yeah.
the one thing you asked me was like, well, what do you want? And I think that question lingered for a long time because I realized that I actually didn't really know. And I think, when you don't know what you want, it's pretty hard to get there, actually.
Impossible,
It's
some would say.
It's pretty hard
You
to
will
get
never.
somewhere where you don't really know where you're going. It's like being very excited but having no map. And so I felt, like we both, even though you mentioned earlier we've been through our ups and downs, I think that also makes our relationship more beautiful because we have a story. We have a story that we're in.
Yeah.
And that story is layered with many different experiences, and I think we've been through all the difficult, not that it's the end, but of the difficulties, but it kind of brought us closer in the end, which I think we needed time to just be with each other without distraction to feel that, I think.
So earlier you said that you have the streamer's mindset, and like because of that it means that there's this infinite possibility mindset of various options and various outcomes. And I remember something as silly as the couch incident, which was buying.
That's exactly a good example.
Yeah, this is a good example, and that also like really infiltrated that trust sensation with you, because we were staying in an apartment in De Waterkant, and the apartment came furnished, but the couches were shocking. And Aaron was like, I'm going to get us a nice couch for this apartment. But you literally shopped around, and then how long did this go on for?
Honestly, it was like 8 months.
8 months.
Maybe more. I don't know.
I'm so glad you can admit that.
I can't commit to things.
He couldn't decide on this couch, and then he would say, well, what do you think about this color? Do you like that fabric? And then I would give my input, and then you would say, okay, cool, yeah. And then you would go and like recruit another person's opinion, and then you would secretly take Sunny, our friend, to the couch shop on a secret mission date after I've just said to him, this is what I think is amazing. It's like, perfect, we're going to get that. And he's like, Sunny,
When
me.
I got the couch, I regretted it. I was like, shit, I definitely got the wrong couch after all that contemplation. So yeah, it's a thought loop that I was almost running a faulty program for quite a long time.
Yeah.
Maybe my whole life.
Yeah, I remember that. And then like I was also, I think we were probably having a few drinks or something, but I remember us being in a good space, but our guards were down. And I actually said to you, I was like, this couch thing it's sitting with me, and I'm wondering if you can't commit to a couch, how are you ever going to commit to anything greater? Like, how can you commit to me, truthfully? Like, where's this going? And have you thought about that? Because I know it seems like a silly example, but it makes me nervous watching how scary a couch decision is for you. And I'm like, what's gonna happen when it comes to us, which is a much greater decision. So I don't know, what do you think shifted?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's many, many things. I mean, obviously we, just as much as I can't commit, I think there was a part of you that couldn't trust men, which I think in my feeling and my body also felt a lot in our relationship. This, like, I love you, but I don't trust you, and we've talked about it a few times. And I think it's also for me to fully commit. It's hard when the person I love also doesn't trust me. you know, and maybe that's my own fault or whatever,
Yeah.
but it creates this like circular,
Yeah, we're both feeding each
kind of,
other's shit.
you don't trust me, I don't think you know what you want, you don't want to commit, so you know, so it's like,
Yeah.
it's like we're like dancing around in this funny loop. And I think, you know, I think when I think back about Sri Lanka, like what happened, I think, you know, you made a commitment to yourself to go do this yoga training, which was not really part of our plan. And I think in that time, I also got to spend a lot of time alone for the first time in maybe, I don't know, maybe ever.
Oh yeah, geez, it was like 3 weeks alone,
Yeah,
basically.
so we were in Sri Lanka together, and Danny goes to do a yoga course, and I'm alone, and just going surfing and chilling, and you're doing this like transformational deep work. But what we were doing is working on ourselves, even though we were there together. And I think we both kind of just had a moment to go, okay, well, you know, like we are trying to be the best versions of ourselves for each other.
But I think something that I'm super proud of our relationship for is the capacity for us to say really difficult things to each other, and it's not using therapized language, and it's not always well articulated, and it's not in the perfect tone as much as we might try. But I think that we've both had the courage and the trust in each other that it's not going to scare the other one off necessarily, to be that vulnerable, but to say things that are like very confronting about one another to the other person. And I think that we both have the self-reflection and the willingness to walk away with that and be like, shit, is there truth in that? It might be like, you're fucking, fuck you, no, how dare you, and then, you know, like give it a few days. You sit with it and there's something about that that's really rubbing me the wrong way.
Yeah.
Okay, you might be right.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think that happened many times last year. You know, where when you went to Komiki, we made a decision last year, well, you made a decision to spend time alone and be in Komiki for, what was it, 6 months? I don't know, 5 months.
5 months, yeah.
And then, you know, when I went to go visit you, you would say, well, you know, these are the things that upset me, and I was caught off guard. And my initial reaction was always defense and just like, you know, fuck you, well, I've come all this way, I haven't seen you in a month. And then exactly as that emotion subsides, after 2 days, I'm like, wait, what did you say? I'm like, oh, I don't know what I want. Okay, maybe I should start exploring that. Or you can't handle criticism. And then I'm like, actually, very good point. Like, I know I didn't like take that very gracefully, but it's like actually true, you know? Or, you know, just it took a while, and it was actually amazing because we weren't together during that period of time. So there were lots of conflict, but lots of time to process it without having to like be in each other's space. You know, you've got a whole week to process something. And I think, you know, once your nervous system has like sort of settled after the initial conflict, you can actually do it, and a little bit of help of ChatGPT here and there.
No, don't say it.
But in all honesty, like, I think that time allowed me to realize that when you are criticizing me or bringing up something difficult, it isn't necessarily personal. It's something you need, and it's something I need to adjust or work on, and I don't have to get so worked up about it. It's, you know, and that's my wound to kind of understand where it comes from, which I actually don't know where it comes from, but you know, it could be many things.
But at least you can
but
identify
the awareness of it, the awareness of going, okay,
this is my blind spot.
I can see what's happening. My brain's going all crazy. My body's feeling weird. I need some time to process. Let me just think about it. How am I going to respond, not react? It's actually like a skill.
Yeah.
And it's a skill that, like, can't really believe took 38 years to figure out. You know, like,
Still figuring it out. Yeah.
How does it take so long to understand such a simple concept?
Yeah, I think it's because we're so overridden by our emotions and that they become such a full-bodied experience that they derail you. So it's like it's almost as if in that moment where you're having that emotional rush, it's like someone's taken a blackout curtain and just wrapped you up in it and just said, okay, that's how I feel sometimes. Where I'm just like, okay, that's all I can conceive of is just this one thing, and it's really I feel like I don't even have
Yeah.
any of my tool, like my senses. I don't know how to use my
Yeah.
body. I don't know how to use my brain. That's just all I feel, and you just get swept up in it. And it,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I've got a crazy data point to like back this up. So I've been measuring my HRV with my Whoop. No, this is not it. I wear it every night to sleep and measure my sleep. But there's a critical measurement called heart rate variability, which effectively measures, your heart, your body's got two nervous systems, parasympathetic and sympathetic. And then your heart is like an electrical system which switches between the two. And when the heart rate variability is low, it means you're in fight or flight. So your heart electrical system isn't able to get you out of fight or flight into your resting state. So you're actually stressed, and it's a very, very important indicator for health and nervous system health. And mine was always around 40, 45, 38. And for years I've tried to get it up, trying different tactics. And then when we went to Sri Lanka, it like just went up by 20%, 30% immediately within like 3-4 days. So it went up to almost 60. And I was quite shocked actually by this data point that I've been tracking. And I think what I then realized in retrospect is that we were in such a serene environment without the chaos of the city, the work, nature. It's very serene there. It's almost like tropical paradise. Your nervous system regulation is just different, and then you can actually process properly.
But I also think that actually someone else said this to me, but it almost sounds like we're glorifying these 3 months just in this foreign country in Sri Lanka. But I really believe and feel that all that work was already being set into motion, like even over Komaki. That challenging time
It's a process. It's
Yeah.
like the end of the process.
Yeah, exactly. That like moving apart, living separately, managing that. I mean, that was it was wild actually, but I think it was super important in terms of gaining perspective individually and not being so wrapped up in each other's worlds, to be able to separate to gain that perspective.
To talk about the separation, like it was during that time, many people were asking me personally if, we're breaking up.
Yeah.
Are you guys, how can you spend 5 months apart, really? We didn't see each other that much.
No, we didn't.
Like 5 or 6 times.
And it was awkward when we did see each other.
It was a bit awkward, and it was winter, like it's hard. But I mean, I didn't really it didn't feel like we had broken up. But the time apart was necessary.
Yeah.
It was time to go inward in ourselves. And then when I told Sunny, we're going to Sri Lanka and we're going to stay, he was like, it's like the perfect thing. You spend time apart, and now, almost like a full circle, you're spending a lot of time together.
Yes.
Yes. Like fully together, not distracted together. So it's kind of like this drifting and coming back together, which I think was almost like not planned, but it kind of worked out quite well. Like when I speak to other people in relationships, I'm like, you should take time apart. Actually, like it's a I don't know, it's like a construct that we've created that you have to always be together. And if you're away from your partner for 2 months, then it's over. It's like, that's crazy, actually, in my mind. It seems like you've got to be comfortable on your own in order to relate.
And also to be able to, because I think part of that separation and that, individuality that we were both cultivating was also to address issues in our relationship that otherwise can't be. I think there were issues around, some feelings of around money and provision and which is I think very common in relationships. And I think we needed to have that step back from the spaghetti entanglement of all of the like all of our different things in our life to be able to address that and to be able to hear each other. Like I think that there were times when it felt like we were speaking different languages, like as a fact, and that no matter what you said, I couldn't hear it. Like physically, I would be looking at your mouth moving, and it was almost as if someone was doing this as you were speaking. Like I couldn't, and I'd be like,
yeah, it's true.
but I don't care because hear what I have to say. And then you would at the same time be
I
like,
remember that night where we actually literally didn't even hear each other.
yeah, we're like, I don't know what to do.
We just had to go to bed being like, okay, well, I guess this is...
Okay, I guess we need help. We're going to therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was an amazing thing as well, I feel like. That the couples therapy sessions, we didn't go to many, but when we did go, we went for like boot camp style, like 3 hours at a time of interrogative work. And I think it was massively impactful in terms of understanding each other. And we still to this day do belly hugs, which is our Francois, the therapist that we were seeing. He would be like, at the end of each of us individually sharing, because he would hold space for each of us to share.
Yeah.
He'd be like, okay. And then he would acknowledge the person's feelings. And then he would like expand on them. So it sounds like this. And it feels like that must be quite scary for you. It must be quite intimidating, whatever it is. And then usually at that point, I'm crying because, usually that's and then he'd be like, okay, stand up. Should we show them what a belly hug is?
Yeah, why not?
Put your drink down.
Quite beautiful, actually.
It is. And then you have to give a belly hug. So you put
They're like that.
You put your belly.
Why so tall?
I'm putting heels on. And then you hug. But you put your bellies on each other. Your bellies have to touch.
It's really nice, actually.
It is. And we often use that as a tool. Sometimes we'll be like, I'll have said something rude. Or you'll have said something rude. Because that's just human nature, right? We're just like trying to get through our lives. And if we each individually fuck up, part of the apology and like reconciliation is belly hug.
Yeah.
Like come together.
Actually, you just said something that made me think. You said something about being rude. I know this is interesting, but like I find that, conflict is one thing, but also the way we speak to each other is another. Like those are two separate things, because you can fight about something, but sometimes the words you choose or the way you do it makes a massive difference to how that conflict can be resolved. And I find that, when life is busy and you're triggered by something, then the way that you kind of take on how to articulate your frustration can be very hurtful to the other person, and then it goes into a weird cycle.
Yeah, because
right?
it's like I hurt you, so you're like, well, if you like
Yeah,
that was
hurtful.
hurtful,
It
hurt.
immediately just becomes this like problem. And I found like, I don't know, maybe it was going back to Sri Lanka.
The Holy Land.
The Holy Land is that when you did have issues, it was like, hey, I need to talk to you about something. Can we make some time? And then we'd go somewhere and you'd be like, this is bothering me or that. And the way, and it was so gentle, but it was the same problem, right? And I was able, like my ability to take in the information and to think about it was so much easier. And I think that could be a real key to conflict, is like, how can I give this message to the person that I love in a way that is very clear, so I'm not like trying to
avoid
mince my words,
yes,
but I'm still making them feel loved and safe in this container that's created. And I think that's also something that needs to be practiced.
Definitely. I almost feel like I've lost that skill since being back in Cape Town. I've definitely have been like way more snappy, way more bitchy. And I think that, look, yes, like, is there a part of me that would love to live the life of a yogi through and through and just teach yoga and practice yoga? And that's what I was doing there. I was doing so much yoga. There weren't many of the external pressures. We weren't drinking. We weren't doing, like, we were just like eating well, sleeping like in 8 to 9 hours a night, living a life that is so beautiful, but I wonder if is sustainable. Maybe to a degree it is, but I feel like since being back in Cape Town, just with the sheer amount of other things like social obligations, not even obligations, like elective social activities, like I want to see my friends, I want to go out, I want to do all these things, and then I'm like got the reality of work, and then also just the busyness of the city, and then we've got our apartment, and there's like these other frustrations that seep in that slowly like chip away at least my personal capacity for. I was like, I often think about it. If I think about how I used to handle things in Sri Lanka, I was probably, if I had to come in, I was
like
annoyingly zen.
No, you were like a, what did they call those? Like, not a Buddhist, but like a, you know, the enlightened.
I was annoying. I'd be like,
Yeah,
so fine.
so zen. I was like, wait, what happened to
Danielle Wallace?
Danny Fire Queen Wallace. Like, she's definitely gone somewhere.
Yeah, I was honestly like, and I'd be like, it's okay.
But I do think you were doing yoga like for 8 hours a day.
I also had this accountability to one bhakti and like my teacher, you know, like, and representing that.
There was the energy of like, calmness that yoga represents. And I mean, we've been doing yoga since we got back, and it's like, it is a spiritual practice.
Completely.
It's not exercise. It's a way of moving through the poses that ultimately allow you to open up certain channels and be a certain way. And it only, from my experience, really becomes magical when you do it consistently every day.
Completely.
Like, it doesn't work if you do yoga once or twice a week.
I feel like I feel like everyone gets something out of it, but it doesn't
quite work.
It doesn't crack it open the same way.
It's like if you do yoga every day for 2 weeks, something changes. Your ability to walk changes. You kind of glide through the air. Literally. Like you see things differently, slow motion, like you hear information. And I think that whole yogic path is also it's special.
I've got a question for you. Okay. Am I ready for it? I'm doing it for the fans. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I guess it's along the lines of, I don't know, do I want to do this actually? I guess is the question.
Maybe.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's make it awkward.
Yeah, let's make it awkward as fuck. I'm going to make it a two-part question because I'm going to start with, let's start with the negative. We end with the positive. Okay. But if I ask you this question, can I answer it for you? No, that's unfair. No, okay, fine, that's unfair. I'm looking at the cameraman. I'm like, cameraman, is that okay? He's like,
that seems crazy.
Okay, fine. Okay, you can ask me your own question, whatever. But what about where I'm at right now and the person that I'm showing up as in our relationship right now? I don't want to say is falling short or is not, could use improvement to be a better partner.
That's easy for me.
Oh my God, Jesus, top of mind.
Top of mind.
He's like, oh, what do you mean? What? Which number do you want? Okay.
It's not that bad. It's, I think it's
top three. No, I'm kidding. Just name one.
I think it's negative self-talk.
Oh wow.
For me, like I think and I'll move straight into the positive. Is that
linger on there.
It's the same.
Okay.
Is that weirdly enough, I love you more when you love yourself a lot, and when you're very negative to yourself, it kind of like it's almost as if you don't love yourself. I
treat myself badly.
Yeah, it's almost like a weird thing where it's like, ultimately you have to love yourself first before you can love someone else. I think. I don't know if that's true, but it feels like you got to have a home in yourself to love. And I think you can spiral into negativity, whether it's about, your body, which is beautiful, or, something that happened, which is not a big deal, that becomes a big deal in your mind. And, you woke up late, but actually it was 7 o'clock, or you had a beer, now it's you back drinking again, It's like these little things that, I've noticed, and I'm just like, don't worry about it, don't be so hard on yourself. But it's
I love you so much for that.
It's a little thing that I can see immediately, and I'm like, it's not true. What you're saying isn't true. It could be true to you, but objectively, as someone looking at you, it's not really the truth. But on the same side of this coin is that I feel like you love yourself 1,000 times more than you did when I first met you.
Yeah.
Like in the beginning, it was like escaping from yourself was your natural sort of go-to mode. Whereas now you can enjoy being alone. And
Yeah.
you love to be by yourself and, read a book or whatever. Whereas in the past, like, I got to go somewhere, I got to drink with a friend, and you couldn't handle yourself.
No, I couldn't.
And so what I think has changed is that you love yourself, maybe for the first time in your life, and because you love yourself, it's like the world is suddenly falling into place for you. You think something and it's happening. Because the universe, I think, wants that. It wants you to love yourself, in a weird way. And I think the journey of life actually could be all about that, in a way, right?
Yeah, it's so interesting because Dirk and I have been seeing this thread throughout the podcast, all these episodes. It's like there's so many different topics. Like we've covered open relationships and polyamory, we've covered eating disorders and body dysmorphia, we've covered addiction, we've covered like sex, and there's all these different topics that are being discussed, and like it almost all seems, well, a few of them, but like one of the threads that I think is being highlighted again now in this conversation is one around like devotion to self and loving yourself. Because in that conversation that we had around like eating issues or like body dysmorphia, which I'm not going to give too much away, but Sam was saying how if you slip up in something, you don't meet that aspect of yourself with more shame and self-deprecation. You meet that aspect of yourself with compassion and love, because whatever you do to beat yourself up about it is just feeding that behavior again in the future. And I feel like that was almost so true about a lot of how I was carrying myself. I mean, I was like busy all the time, like always going out, like always socializing. And I think it's so funny because maybe this also links back into the aspect of safety in our relationship, is that from what I understand, and I might be misstating this, but there's several ways, like, you get different survival mechanisms. There's like fight, flight, freeze, fawn, and then there's also one called flock. And flocking is when, that's what I do. Flocking is you find a flock. You seek out other people, and that becomes your sense of safety. So if ever I was going through something in the bumpy times of our relationship, what would I do is I seek a flock. So I would go, I have to see my friends. I have to see them. I have to connect. I have to make sure that I have other means of safety and provision outside of this bubble that I'm in now, because I can't provide for myself, apparently. Don't trust myself, don't love myself, can't provide for myself. Must make sure that I have this web of safety, this net that can catch me, and make sure that I have all the different possibilities available to me in case something goes wrong. And it also was a bit of an issue in our relationship at one point, with me processing problems in our relationship or issues that arose through this survival tactic, because I was talking to a lot of people about our shit. Do you remember that phase?
Yeah.
That was hectic. I mean, that's pretty shit for you.
My worst thing.
It was very shit for you, because I would go for drinks and I'd be like, yeah, but you don't understand. And then I would talk about our stuff, but like to several people. And then we have certain other friends who are also very vocal, and then it would become like this whole big hullabaloo that was a private matter would have become a public matter. And I was never doing it to belittle you. I was actually doing it as a temperature check for my own sanity, because of how low my self-trust and self-love is. I'm like, you're a piece of crazy ass shit. So don't believe anything you think. Go talk to people. Like, make sure that you have safety, but also just double check. I'm like, is this crazy? Or is it just me? But this is how I feel, and no. And I remember that was a huge issue in our relationship.
Yeah, it
At
was.
one point.
No, it was. And I think it is, because not just for me, but I think in general in relationships, like what you share between your partner is in some ways your stuff. And it's like I'll explain what happens, right? So imagine we have a mutual friend, and then you meet that friend and say a whole bunch of stuff about me, like whatever it is, and it's most likely bad because you
definitely
and
bad.
it's stuff I don't want that person to know about me, right? Because it's also my friend. So now when I see that person next time, they know things about me that I didn't want them to know. I never had a choice in saying what was conveyed. I don't really know what the conversation was about, really. And now I almost feel like I have to defend myself and say, well, actually, my point of view is X, Y, and Z, even without, it's just like now it's like a whole story, right? And I feel like it's an unnecessary. I don't think it's completely out of the question, like to talk to someone about your relationship, but I think you have to be very careful about what you say because you can't take it back.
You can't take it back.
And that person now forms an opinion of your partner.
That you're probably going to stay with.
Are going to stay with, right?
Yeah.
So why would you want to damage their perception of your partner? Because, I've seen some relationships where, sometimes a partner will rant so much about their relationship that all the friends start to not like their partner. And then they stay with their partner, and then the friends never like their partner.
And they never want to hang out with a couple.
Why did you do that, right? Like now you've ruined everybody's perception about the person you want to be with. So I think, I think that if you have some truly close friends that you trust, that you need to talk to about your relationship. And I have a few guys that I will always talk to if I have a big issue because I trust them. I know they're not going to go, and I know that they have their own opinions about the person. It's just you have to speak to someone.
Yeah.
It's not about going silent and never talking about it, but it's just, I think it's selective, I think. So yeah, that was upsetting, but I don't think you do it anymore.
No, I don't do it anymore because you called me out on it. Speaking of like hard conversations and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You did call me out on it. And then it resulted in change, which as I said earlier, is like something that I think is actually, that is the actual thing. The reason that we have a healthy relationship today is because of that capacity to receive feedback, and then the willingness to change. And like I think it's always been a matter of, you can't force someone to change. I don't think either of us have forced each other to change, but it's been like a clarity on, at least in the times when it's felt like I might have threatened you, which I think only really happened in Komiki, where I was like, this has to change, otherwise I don't want to be in a dynamic in which this is the case. And, having that clarity of mind or clarity of your own needs is also probably a process towards self-love and
I think so. The clarity of own needs, I think, is where it starts.
Yeah.
And I think both of us didn't have that clarity, and so we're like, how do you not know what I need? And then obviously,
and then like, what do you need? You're like,
I don't know.
You should know. Yeah.
But it's funny because like when you said that to me, I was like, I started to write down like what I need, and one of the things is like, I need to be spoken to kindly, or I need to be nurtured, or I need support when work is doing X, Y, and Z, and like slowly you can get there. But when you don't do that exercise, you just expect your partner to understand your needs, and that seems a bit crazy. Like,
yeah, but like understand your needs, but in a way that is so, I don't know. It's like an impossible feat because
it's impossible
because you don't even know what you need, exactly as you said. So it's like, what I expect you to read the subtleties of the cues that I'm giving out.
It's actually,
and respond.
When you speak about a relationship like this, it's almost like you can laugh when these things happen in a relationship, because they're almost like crazy, like, oh my gosh, we just had a fight about this thing that none of us really understood. Like, why in the world did we fight about that? It's like, and I think that's also when it's because of patterns, right? So like you can fall into these like behavioral patterns where you just fight about something for it's not necessary. And then you're like, why do we do that? It's like, oh, because we just used to doing it. And I think that's also what happened in Sri Lanka, is there was a pattern shift. And that's why I think taking a mega sort of changing your environment and changing your whole thing can break a pattern, because we're like little programs stuck in some funny, maze.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I don't know if I was talking to Dirk and I were talking in between our videos or in between our episodes, but it's like a wild concept to think that two individuals with each of their own historical information, their own life story, their own subconscious mind informing the way that they perceive the world, like coming together
The body.
and trying to find common ground.
Yeah,
like it's pretty crazy.
No, it makes no sense. That's why we're like, obviously you're gonna fight.
Obviously.
That's why I'm saying it's funny, right?
Yeah.
Because once you know that of course this is difficult, of course you're gonna fight, then you can take the pressure off and you can just go, well, why did that happen? Oh, okay, well that's obviously why it happened. And then you can like deal with it versus being like, oh, we're like something wrong with us because we're fighting. Because it can't be. It's not easy to be in a relationship, I don't think.
No, it's not. Okay, so what advice do you have for the listeners?
For a relationship?
For as a boyfriend, what are some of the things you learned about having a girlfriend in your personal experience that could benefit them?
I think there's things that I've thought about is like, I always thought like you've got to be equal in a relationship and whatever, this is the new world. But the more I think about it, there's a man and a woman and there are different roles, protecting, providing, being present. Like a man has certain things to offer to a relationship and a woman has certain things. And I think when you try to like make it super like, okay, well you do this, you do that, we be the same, it kind of loses its polarity or something. And like, I don't know, I feel like more that there's these two, not that we can't shift between masculine and feminine, but that like being more of the role, that role in a relationship feels more aligned.
Harmonious.
Feels more aligned with taking on that role. What was the question again?
It was, what can you tell people about having a girlfriend? Like advice.
Okay, so I think like, that's maybe the one piece is like, like formulate what it is you're bringing to the relationship. Like what are you adding actually, or are you just there? And maybe the second thing is that, women, in my opinion, they are electric and all over the place. It's the chaotic energy, and as a man you need to be able to absorb it. You need to be able to stand firm when it's chaos around you, in a way, and not let it like completely knock you over, because it's almost bound to happen in the different style of being. And I think when you can be a lot more, I think it's, we talked a lot about nervous system, but your nervous system can receive this energy without just like pushing it away, then I think you can have a much deeper relationship, which is what I think it feels like at this point. So that's the two things. I don't know.
That's the two things.
I didn't plan to say it.
No, but we didn't plan any of this. This is, just so everyone knows, these are blank. I just took notes.
Yeah.
That was my one note, which says calm plus lanky equals greater outcome.
I'm not a licensed relationship.
No, he's not a therapist.
I'm not a licensed.
Look, he's dating me after all, so he's flawed.
I'm flawed.
He's dealing with his own
I
stuff
think
deep down.
the last thing I'll say is like, make time to have fun, right? Like we've been caught up for 2 years in a lot of stuff, work and business and going out. Going out is not having fun, I don't think. It is fun, it can be fun, but it's not like an adventure.
Yes.
Like do something crazy, like book a this, or do things that are.
Go watch a play.
Yeah, go watch a play, or plan things that are fun.
Yeah.
That
like rewarding.
Make life worth living. You can't just do your work and go for dinner. Like you've got to actually think and go like, let's do things that make life really interesting. Otherwise, it just becomes one long kind of day.
Yeah.
You know.
I think that also maybe as we wrap it up, I'm just going to disclaimer alert the fact that this isn't coming from a high horse pedestal, kind of direction. And I think it's just a conversation that I found interesting because I noticed a shift in us, and I feel different in our relationship. And I've been curious to articulate what those things are, that like what the breadcrumbs on that path are that led us to this place now. And it's like we maybe even if it's just like a matter of celebrating the success now, and we know there's going to be hard times again, and it's probably going to go up and down and bumpy all over again until we find another like place of where the dust is settled. But I do also believe that the work that we've done in understanding each other, and like that also takes time. Hey, people underestimate that. Like it takes time. This is almost 5 years in. It takes time, and this has been, I think, one of the most balls deep from the get-go relationship that I've ever been in. There was no mucking about. We fell in love with each other, and then it was, I think I moved in with you within a month. Yeah, and that was also traumatic, and also a problem, and also a bad decision, but it was very much like all in, and like, so it's taken that intensity, but also time to learn whatever's being brought out of me in this dynamic, but also understand the person that you're engaging with.
Yeah, I think to add to that, people always say relationships are your biggest teachers.
Yeah.
And I think they can or they can't be. I think they are if you let them. I think what happens when relationships start to teach people stuff is they just break up, right? And then they stop learning from it, right? So I think what we did is we pushed through those really sort of at the pivotal moments to go, wait, what more can we learn from this experience?
How can it expand me? How can I be
let's
better?
Not just let it go.
Yeah.
And because we're both quite strong people, it is going to teach you something because the one person's not a pushover, right? And I think that's when it becomes very much a teaching experience because, you're both giving a lot to the other person and hopefully over time that settles, and you're like, okay, we've learned.
We've
I
learned.
don't think you'll ever stop learning, but like you retrospectively over 5 years, almost, I've definitely learned a lot more than I have in most things in my life, like more than university.
I'm a better person. I feel honestly like I'm a better person
from
being with you and like from our relationship and what the aspects of myself that you cultivate in me and your encouragement and
what more do you want from a relationship, really? Than becoming a better person.
Exactly.
That's kind of like the essence of it.
Oh. Cute.
All right, do you want to wrap it up?
Let's wrap it up. Anyway, guys, that was a little, I don't know. I'm not even going to say what that was.
I don't know what that was.
That was just us
That was
hanging
just
out.
a chat about a reflection.
A reflection. It was like a little, a quarterly review. Not really, but
No, just
No.
a stake in the ground.
why don't you close for us?
Okay,
Yeah.
I'll close.
Okay,
for
hold the
us.
cards.
So yeah, I mean, from my point of view, this is a huge moment in not just our relationship, but your journey of life building time for us. I mean, you've got this radical spaceship purple couch that's going to take us to the moon. But sitting here on this couch, for me, it feels incredible. Like, I've watched the whole journey of Time for Us from like a tiny little logo that Morgie made
Yes,
to the
Morgie.
sign over there to having wine,
Ethan, yeah.
birthdays, and the crying and the wanting to throw it away and give it up. And, I've always said that Time for Us is a brand and it means something and it impacts people. And what it does is it's authentic relating and conversations that allow other people to get different perspectives, feel understood. And so I think the brand is just at the beginning of its journey. And this season is super exciting, so I look forward to production.
Yay, thank you, my baby.
Cool.
I love you. Thank you guys for
That's a
listening.
wrap.
That's a wrap. That's a chicken wrap. Like, follow, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. You know, all the drills. And love you guys always. Share this with the world. And thank you for making time for us. Bye.
Time for us.
Bye.